A very good morning to you all. Welcome to the launch of the Australia-Indonesia Museum Project AIM project. My name is Anastasia Dwi Rahmi. You can call me Ami, and it is a great honor and pleasure for me to be your MC for today's event. The AIM project brings together museum professionals from Indonesia and Australia to develop collaborative approaches to researching and interpreting significant museum objects and collections from both countries. Today's meeting is a fantastic opportunity for us to meet each other and begin to share ideas. The AIM project has been made possible through grant funding from the Australia-Indonesia Institute of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Australia, and the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia. We would like to sincerely thank both parties for their support. The implementation of the project will be a collaborative effort and will be led by Deakin University's Cultural Heritage Asia Pacific Group in collaboration with the Museum Nasional Indonesia, the Western Australian Museum, the Southeast Asia Museum Services, and participants from across Indonesia. Allow me to extend our warmest greetings to our eminent speakers and guests, Dr. Hilmar Farid, the Director General for Culture, Ministry of Education, Culture Research and Technology, Alastair Cox, the Deputy Australian Ambassador to Indonesia, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, John Maloney, Pro Vice Chancellor International Deakin University, Diana Jones, Acting CEO, Executive Director, Collections and Research, Western Australian Museum, Dr. Stephen Cook, Associate Professor of Cultural Heritage and Museum Studies, Bapak Yudi Wahyudin, Director for Cultural Human Resource and Cultural Institutions Empowerment, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Corrali Sauter and fellow curators from the Western Australian Museum, and last but not least, the 22 AIM participants representing 12 museums from 8 provinces across Indonesia. This launching and orientation event will consist of 2 segments with a short break between the 2. Now we will start our first segment with an opening remarks from the Deputy Australian Ambassador to Indonesia, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Mr. Alastair Cox, who has pre-recorded his speech, and we will play the video.
Good morning, Selamat Pagi. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands in Australia on which you are all meeting today. I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and I'd also like to acknowledge and welcome any Australian and Torres Strait Islander people who are attending today's event. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the launch of the Australia-Indonesia Museums project, and I would especially like to welcome Dr. Hilmar Farid, the Director General for Culture within the Ministry of Education and Culture here in Indonesia. My name is Alastair Cox and I'm the Deputy Australian Ambassador here in Jakarta. This Australia-Indonesia Museums project is a very innovative concept that will help build connection across museums in both Australia and Indonesia and knowledge about new and emerging museums practice. I think museums have often been seen in a national context, displaying national treasures and national stories, but I think there is a lot of room to explore connections between different cultures. And I understand that this project will do just that. And I think there is a lot of room to explore that between Australia and Indonesia. We all know that there's a long history of the tripang fishermen from South Sulawesi who sailed south to what they called Marege, which is the north of Australia, to search for tripang. And we've just had a beautiful tapestry finished and hung at the embassy to celebrate that. So these kinds of connections are very valuable and important to explain as part of our culture in both countries. And I think that the maritime theme of the exhibition work that will be done through this project will speak very strongly to that tradition. I'd like to thank in particular the Australia-Indonesia Institute, which has had a strong role in supporting this program and many others like it. And I would like to thank all of you who are participating today in this launch, and I wish you all the best for the project's undertaking, its implementation, and for its results. So again, terima kasih sekali, and I would like to wish you all the best for this launch. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alastair Cox, for the opening remarks. Now, I would like to invite the Acting CEO and Executive Director, Collections and Research, Western Australian Museum, to deliver her remarks. Please welcome Ms. Diana Jones.
Thank you very much, and hello everybody. And I'd also like to pay my respects to all the traditional people that we need to actually include in this. And I haven't got a list of this, but I do pay my respects. For those of you who don't know, the Western Australian is the state's premier cultural organisation, and it houses WA's culture and scientific collections. For over 120 years, we've been making the state's social and natural heritage accessible and engaging through research, exhibitions and public programs. We actually have 7 locations across the state, as well as a collection and research centre that houses more than 8 million objects and specimens. We opened recently our new flagship, which is called Bula Bardip, which means many stories in the language of the local Noongar people. And that's in the Perth Cultural Centre. That was on Saturday, the 21st of November, 2020, so very recently. As part of the AIM project, we are designing and delivering an online exhibition in collaboration with the National Museum of Indonesia. We look forward very much to collaborating with our Indonesian friends and curators to develop shared stories for objects across our respective collections. As an organisation, we do have an ongoing interest in the Indian Ocean, and many of these interests are already reflected in our new museum, Bula Bardip. For example, we have a major gallery called the Connections Gallery, and that explores links from both a deep time perspective through to modern issues. We also have a very high scientific interest in Indonesia, and our scientists have been exploring biodiversity of the area, and we also work with, and I personally work with Indonesian colleagues and training regarding the biodiversity of the Northeast Indian region, and have had postgraduate students in Indonesia in that respect. This current project is an opportunity to further strengthen our ties in the region, but more importantly with our nearest neighbour, Indonesia, and we look forward very much to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Diana Jones, for your speech. I would now like to invite the Pro Vice Chancellor, International Deakin University, to deliver his remarks. Please welcome Mr. John Maloney.
Like the previous speakers, I'd also like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet today. And I'm here in Melbourne, so in my case, that is the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And I pay respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I also want to recognise the distinguished supporters of this AIM project, Australia-Indonesia Museum project, and to thank the Deputy Ambassador, who we've just heard from, Alistair Cox. I'm also honoured to pay thanks to Dr. Hilma Farid, the Director General for Culture, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology in Indonesia, and to Diana Jones, the Executive Director, Collections and Research, and currently Acting CEO of Western Australian Museums. Thank you very much. Well, it's a great pleasure for me to be welcoming everyone to this very important event. Indonesia, from my perspective at Deakin University, where I'm responsible for international partnerships and collaborations, Indonesia is so important to our international strategy. We're deeply connected already through our institutional partnerships, our connectivity with Indonesian government at various levels and industry. And we remain very ambitious to continue to grow those connections. And so this initiative forms part of a deep strategy around connectivity with Indonesia. Sharing stories and finding connections across cultures is so important, and no more important than with our close and large partner in Indonesia. And museums are places where these stories at the intersection of cultures can be told. Deakin's particularly well positioned to contribute to that. We have a great reputation in cultural heritage and museum studies, not only here in Australia, but actually globally. And our taught programs are among the largest and longest running in Australia. And our research runs very deep in this area as well, and is recognised in the Australian Excellence in Research evaluation, where we rate above world standard. So this project is a history, and it's developed out of relationships created and sustained through the Australian Awards Fellowship Program. That's the federal government's flagship program for international PhDs. It's something that we and all Australian universities very much appreciate and are connected deeply to. So that fellowship program, Australia Awards Fellowship Program, capacity building in the Indonesian museum sector was initiated and ran through Deakin from 2016 through 2017. And it was funded by the Australian Government Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. The program allowed participants to travel to Australia from Indonesia for a short course to visit museums and develop a big idea, which is what brings us here today, to affect change in the institution. Many of the alumni of that program are participants today, and it's my honour and pleasure to welcome you here to this important event. It's also an opportunity for me to recognise the connectivity that we have at Deakin through Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and sponsoring bodies for PhDs and research collaborations in Indonesia. We have long-standing and very deep relationship with Ristek Dikti and LPDP in particular. And I want to express ongoing thanks to colleagues in those organisations. So the AIM project will bring together curators in Indonesia and Australia to work together to develop shared approaches to understanding the significance of objects and how they should be interpreted. It will result in exhibitions hosted by the Western Australian Museum, as we've heard from Diana. We're grateful for the support of the Australian government through the Australia-Indonesia Institute and from the Indonesian government through the Ministry of Education and Culture. We are also very pleased to be working with our industry partners, Southeast Asia Museum Service and Western Australia Museum, very strong connections for Deakin with both these institutions. Finally, again, I'd like to thank Dr. Hilma Farid and his team from the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology for their cooperation and collaboration, which has made this AIM project possible. Deakin looks forward to continuing to develop this cooperation through training exchanges and other opportunities. And we also look forward to the ceremonial opportunity of signing off on an MOU supporting this program in the near future. Once again, I'm delighted to welcome everybody here today to this Deakin event and wishing you every success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. John Maloney, for your speech. Now we would like to welcome Dr. Hilmar Farid, Director General for Culture, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, to deliver his speech and officially launch the AIM project. Pak Hilmar, the screen is yours.
Well, thank you, and good morning to all of you. Mr. Alastair Cox, Deputy Australian Ambassador to Indonesia, Diana Jones of the Western Australia Museum, John Maloney of Deakin University is previously speaking, and most importantly, all the participants of the Australia-Indonesia Museum, or AIM project. First of all, allow me to extend my warmest greeting to all of you. This meeting today is the beginning of a series of workshops that will take place throughout this year and will culminate with a co-curated online exhibition next year. And this, I find it very exciting, as it would involve knowledge sharing, an exchange of experiences between Australian and Indonesian museum curators and cultural heritage practitioners. And we all hope that participants will benefit from the project, to learn from each other, and most importantly, I think, to create a network of museum practitioners in the region. My highest appreciation to the Australian government, the Australia-Indonesia Institute, Deakin University, Western Australia Museum, the Southeast Asia Museum Services, and my colleagues, of course, at the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, who have been working hard to make this project possible. And with the blessings of all of you, I declare this series of workshops officially open. And to the participants, I wish you all the best with the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hilmar Farid, for your remarks and for officially opening AIM project. We will continue with the last part of the segment, which is an overview of the Australia-Indonesia Museum project. We would like to invite Dr. Stephen Cook, the Associate Professor of Cultural Heritage and Museum Studies, who will explain the background and objectives of AIM project.
Thank you, everybody, distinguished guests, friends. It's lovely to see you all here. It's a shame we can't meet in person, but perhaps in time. Like the other speakers, I'd like to acknowledge the peoples of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners of the unceded lands and waterways from which I'm speaking with you today in Williamstown in Melbourne, and to pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. Could I have the next slide, please, Andrew? The origins of the Australia-Indonesia Museums projects speak to the long-standing connections that we have with a group and growing network of colleagues across the region committed to learning from one another and developing new approaches to cultural heritage and museum practice. Now, these are connections that have developed through our postgraduate programs in cultural heritage and museum studies, our relationship with the Southeast Asian Museum Service, the West Australia Museum, and through the Australia Awards Fellowship that Deakin ran in 2016 and 17 that John mentioned. And I'm absolutely delighted that so many of the alumni from that program could join us today. It's fantastic to see you. We know that, sorry, next slide, please. We know that places, as we've heard already today, that museums are places for stories, stories about where we come from and where we want to go. And as Ambassador Cox said, these are often national stories, and these are really important, who we are as a community and who we aspire to be. But we also know that, as Ambassador Cox mentioned, that people, objects and stories travel, moving between countries, making connections and acquiring new meanings. And in troubling times when some borders remain still closed, those shared stories are, what those shared stories are and how those stories connect us become all the more important. So the questions therefore become how we tell these transnational stories. How do we develop new ways of understanding significance, why things are important? What interpretive techniques can be developed to communicate the significance in our museums, both within the physical spaces of the museum and online? How do we learn from each other about how these stories intersect? How do we learn to share difficult stories? How do we learn perhaps not to develop common understandings of the past, but how to respect and acknowledge different perspectives? How do we learn from each other about cultural heritage and museum practice where we are so that we can share that with others? And these are really the key aims of the AIM project. And we're really delighted to be working with you on this. Next slide, please. So in terms of the kind of nuts and bolts of the project, the project will be organized around both formal workshops and ongoing mentoring. And the first activity is the significance workshop in July this year, which is going to be held in Jakarta and jointly hosted by the National Museum of Indonesia, Southeast Asia Museum Service, Deakin University, and Western Australian Museums. And obviously for many of us, that will be a virtual experience rather than in person. And again, we're frustrated that we won't be able to join you physically for that, that process. In the workshop, what we'll be doing is looking at the objects at the National Museum collection and learning about one of the kind of key foundational documents of this area of museum practice, Significance 2.0. And we'll be thinking about how we can actually improve that foundational document through the work that we're doing over the next 18 months or so. So after we've done that training, then our participants will go back to their own institutions and undertake that significance assessment. Thanks, Andrew. On their own collections. And we've done this really successfully before. We had a wonderful few days in Surabaya Museum. We're doing doing a significance training program in June 2019, which you can see some really interesting photographs there. So thank you. Obviously, grown a beard since then. Andrew, thank you. The second workshop will take the work that we'll be doing on significance and then think about how, if you like, we translate that within the spaces of the museum. What are the new interpretive programs that we can develop? What are the new interpretive strategies that we can develop to think about translating and sharing those joint stories? And it's here that we'll be working really closely together with Australian and Indonesian curators to develop these kind of shared stories and shared approaches. Andrew. It's here I'd like to hand over to Corily from the WA Museum to talk about the online exhibition development.
Thanks, Steve. Welcome, everyone. This is a very exciting moment for us. I've met many of you through the trip I did as part of my PhD research. I'm actually a PhD student also at Deakin University. So I think that's what John Maloney referred to as strong connections. Yeah, we did actually talk about working together way back in 2018. So it's really pleasing to finally be here. And as our Executive Director, Diana Jones, has already mentioned, we're in a really interesting place here at WA Museum, having just opened our new museum, Bula Bardip, only last year. As part of that, we've developed quite a strong new exhibition development system here, which enables us to deliver permanent exhibitions, but also really unique digital exhibitions. So it's, again, a very timely point we are at where we can actually use some of our infrastructure we've had through the development of our new museum and use it for this project. So as has already been mentioned by Steve, the idea of this is for curators in Indonesia to work with curators in Australia. And this is probably the most exciting part of it, because we all have our stories. We've all talked about the intersections, but this is an opportunity to really make those happen and actually have them as part of an exhibition. So the aim of the exhibition is really, it's a developing concept, and a lot of it will depend on what comes out of our workshops and working with individuals. Together, we need to select 15 objects across our collections, which we can then find themes which link them and explore and push some of the boundaries that maybe we're not used to dealing with in our standard, ways of exhibiting things. So it's really an iterative process, one that I think will be very exciting for everyone involved. I'm hoping to lead the process of getting the conversation started and just really see how they go. The WA Museum is committed to helping create the exhibition and working very strongly with the National Museum of Indonesia. And we thank you for being involved. So yeah, it's really, let's see what happens from this point. And we look to see what the end result is going to be in June 2022. Thanks.
Thanks, Corrali. The very exciting kind of project, part of the project, and what's really also exciting is that the project extends not only to the people who are sitting around this virtual table today, but to a whole series of our colleagues in other museums across Indonesia. So the fourth activity, the fourth plank in this project, are a series of regional workshops over the next 2 years, where SEAMS will run significant workshops across Indonesia, and we're also looking to you as participants in the AIM project to get involved and to help with those, and to really spread the learnings and your expertise across your colleagues within the sector. Andrew. Finally, across the period of the program, the participants will have access to our online learning program called Cloud Deacon, and there is a special developed site that will be both in English and in Bahasa. And you'll have access to this site where you'll have opportunities. Basically, it's a virtual workshop space with articles, videos, and other resources that you can have access to throughout your time with us in this project. There's also opportunities for discussions, for advice, and feedback, so that the mentoring won't just happen in these workshops; it'll happen throughout the program. So finally, can I add my thanks to the Australian and Indonesian governments for so generously funding this project, to SEAMS and the WA Museum for developing this project with us at Deakin, and last but by no means least, all of the participants from museums in Australia and Indonesia for sharing your time and expertise, and we're really looking forward to working with you on it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen Cook and Coraya Southern. We hope that this project will strengthen the relationship of Australia and Indonesia, especially in the field of museum, culture, and education. Before closing this segment, we have to take a group photo. Therefore, I would like to kindly ask all of you to turn on your camera, and we will have Mbak Mita or Mas Bowo here to take our pictures and guide us through the photo
Mas
session.
Bowo.
Okay. For the first slide, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the next. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for all of our eminent speakers in this segment. We are now moving on to the next segment after the short coffee break. See you in 5 minutes. Hello again and welcome to our second segment of the AIM project launch and orientation event. In this segment, we will hear welcoming remarks from Pak Yudi Wahyudin, Director for Cultural Human Resource and Cultural Institutions Empowerment, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology. Following this, we would like all participants to introduce themselves, share the organization where they are from, and motivation to join the AIM project. Please, Pak Yudi Wahyudin.
Baik, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, Rahayu. Your Excellencies, the Director General of Culture, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Bapak Dr. Himang Farid, Deputy Australian Ambassador to Indonesia, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Mr. Alastair Cox, Pro Vice Chancellor, Deakin University, Mr. John Moloney, dear participant, facilitator, speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We are very pleased to welcome all of you to the curatorial training, significance, assessment, and interpretation of museum objects. This curatorial training is an Australia-Indonesia Museum project, which is a cooperation between the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Republic of Indonesia, and the Australia-Indonesia Institute of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. AIM project will be head by the Deakin University's Cultural Heritage Asia Pacific Group in collaboration with Museum Nasional Indonesia, Western Australian Museum, and Southeast Asia Museum Services, and other partner museums in Indonesia. The AIM project brings together museum curators in Indonesia and Australia to develop a collaborative approach in museum collection, research, and interpretation. Through co-curate of online exhibition, it aims to discover new narrative on the relation between the two countries. The project will produce a prototype to understand the cross-cultural significance of object and method for interpretation and presentation in an online digital exhibition. This result can be achieved through facilitated training and ongoing mentoring, and will produce an exhibition that display objects that is the best practice this collaborative training. The training will be held in 2 sessions. The first will be held in Jakarta on June 2021 for the training of significance, and the second in Makassar on October 2021 for the training of interpretation. The development of the exhibition content will be in production until April 2022, and the online exhibition will be launched in May 2022. In this occasion, I would like to thank the organization committee for preparing this event, and many thanks to our partners, the Australia-Indonesia Institute of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Deakin University's Cultural Heritage Asia Pacific Group, Museum Nasional Indonesia, Western Australian Museum, and Southeast Asia Museum Service for their support. I wish this training will be a successful one and can bring much benefit for all of us and for museum in Indonesia. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Santi 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 Om. Namo Buddhaya, Rahayu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Yudi, for your warm welcome and to the participants, and most importantly, your support for this project. Next, and this is the most exciting part, I guess. We would like to ask the participants to introduce themselves briefly. Each of you will have 1 minute, and please make sure that your mic and camera are on. And we will start with the Indonesian curators. I have the list here, and once I call your name, please start introducing yourself. First one is Ardi Haryadi from Museum Textile Museum.
Yeah.
Please, Mas Ardi.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Hi, Steven. It's nice to see you again. Is it the voice is clear, you know?
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. So let me introduce myself. My name is Ardi Haryadi, and I've been working in the museum sector since 2016. And currently, I'm a curator at Textile Museum under the Jakarta Art Museum. So through this program, I'm sure that I will find new ways to provide significant services to the collections of the Textile Museum. And with the experience of all the experts from Indonesia and Australia, this program will be an opportunity for me to develop my skills in the curatorial fields. So once again, thank you very much. And I'm very honored to be one of the participants of this AIM project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mas Ardi. And next we will have Galih Utama Putra from Museum Sejarah Jakarta.
Hello everyone. Hello Steve, nice to see you again. I'm Galih Utama Putra. I'm from Jakarta History Museum. My motivation to join this program is to develop my skill and knowledge about the museum and also about the collection and cultural heritage itself. I'm working at the museum that have many problems with collection and also the cultural heritage. Perhaps I can get the answer of those problems with join these programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mas Galih. And next we have Hafni Dan from Museum Tsunami Aceh.
Hi, hello everybody. I'm Hafni, the head of Aceh Tsunami Museum. I followed the same program in 2017, and it really influenced my way to manage tsunami museums today. So I really miss the same program. So we know today all of us facing pandemic periods. So I lost many opportunity to upgrade myself. So I think this is a really great program. I need discussing, sharing, and I'm waiting for collaborating with any museums, any museum worker, and also with Australia. So thank you for having me as a part of this program.
Thank you very much for having me. Next, we will have Agustinus Wisnu Kristianto from Museum Sono Budaya, Yogyakarta.
Hello everyone. My name is Wisnu Kristianto. I'm from Museum Sono Budaya. My motivation join this program because I want to follow the process how to make the virtual museum exhibition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mas Agustinus Wisnu. And next we will have Ismani Umi Muslika, also from Museum Sono Budaya.
Hello, good morning. My name is Isna from Sono Budaya Museum. My previous experience in participating in similar program and the opportunity to meet and collaborate with museum workers from both Indonesia and Australia on this program motivated me to join this project. Besides, the different types of collection from each museum will certainly aid insight in tracing and collecting information sources as supporting data. In addition, the limitation of holding offline exhibition during this COVID pandemic forced us to make an adjustment by optimizing the use of online media. This would be an interesting challenge, especially for me, who has always designed physical exhibits. Thank you.
Thank you, Mbak Isna. Next, we will have Unusi from Museum Nasional Indonesia.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm Nusi from Museum Nasional Indonesia. In fact, I'm the oldest participant here, but I'm sure that I will get additional insights and new experiences from my new great fellow participant of the AIMS from other museum like there are Ulfa. There are so many colleagues from other museum that I'm sure that I will get more insight, and also it's a I think it is a good topic for the significance of collection. In fact, there is my big idea where I was where Steve asked to make one big idea for our museum, and I took the topic of the significance of collection, and I will looking forward for this opportunity to join this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Nusi. Next, we have Siti Rohani from Museum Situs Kepurbakalaan Banten Lama.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Siti Rohani from the Old Banten Archaeological Site Museum or Museum Situs Kepurbakalaan Banten Lama. I interest this program to improve our knowledge about interpret the museum collection for the content development in order to update the display our museum. And also I interest this program for to add our link in other museum. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have Maulida Sintadewi from Museum Nasional.
Thank you. My name is Maulida Sintadewi. I'm from Museum Nasional Indonesia. Thanks for all committee to choose me can join this workshop. My experience about 12 years in National Museum of Indonesia, 3 years as an educator, and 8 years as a conservator. My aim join this workshop is for broaden my horizons, especially about preparation for exhibition activities, and I hope I can make a different different view of exhibition, not only from the humaniora exhibitions, but from the science. Thank you.
Thank you, Maulida. Next, we will have Nyimas Ulfah Aryeni from Sumatera Selatan.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Yumas Ulfa Aryeni, and you can call me Ulfa. I'm working at Dinas Kebudayaan Kota Palembang as Kepala Seksi Pemusiuman dan Bangunan Bersejarah. My biggest motivation for participating in this activity is to enrich my experience and increase the network in the network. Thank you.
Thank you, Imas. Next, we will have Winda Saputri from Museum Mula Warman, Kalimantan Timur.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. My name is Winda Saputri. You can call me Winda. I am from Museum Mula Warman, Kalimantan. My motivation to join program is to improve my knowledge and improve my skill for interpret and for research collection in my museum. Thank you.
Thank you, Winda. Next, we will have Dian Permatasari from Jakarta.
Okay, hello. My name is Dian Permatasari. You can call me Dian. I'm from Jakarta Historical Museum. My motivation for joining this program to gain knowledge about curatorial and to learn about the significance of museum collection so that later it can be applied in the museum where I work. Nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dian. Now we will have Ayudita Kirana from Museum Sono Budaya.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayudita Kirana. I'm coming from, you can call me Karin. I'm coming from Sono Budaya Museum. I joined this program to looking for the experience with the other museum worker, especially for the curatorial process. Thank you.
Thank you, Karin. Next, we will have Theo Nugraha from Museum Kota Samarinda.
Yeah, okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Theo Nugraha. I'm artist and co-curator of Museum Kota Samarinda. Why join the program? Because Museum Kota Samarinda is new, start 2020. So we need to learn what is identification object, what interpretation, why is need to museum and framing museum to my city. So I think itu aja. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo. And next we have Fajar Ihsan Hadianto from Museum Nasional Indonesia.
Okay, thank you. Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Fajar Ihsan Hadianto. You can call me Fajar. I came from National Museum of Indonesia. My motivation to join this program is this is a good opportunity for me, so I can scale up my skill in curatorial, especially. So I can apply in an exhibition who can relate with our audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fajar. Now we have Nabila Khairunisa from Museum Kebaharian Jakarta.
Okay, Tess, can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Hello everyone, my name is Nabila Khairunisa. I'm from Jakarta Maritime Museum. I think soul of a museum is a collection. As a person who works in museum, I realized that the ability to interpret collections is the most basic thing. So I need to improve my interpretation skills in order to provide accurate information to the public. For the last, thank you for having me in this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mbak Nabila. And next we will have Vitagora Yuliana Purwanti from Museum Benteng Vredeburg.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Pitagora Yuliana, but you can call me Pipit. My motivation, I think I'm the only one who educators in this training. My motivation for joining this program is to increase my knowledge and my skill in curatorial work. So working with curators at many exhibitions makes me curious about curatorial work, and I hope I get new knowledge through this training. Thank you for having me in this program.
Very much, Pipi. And next we have Zainab Tahir from Marine Heritage Gallery, Jakarta.
Hi everyone, my name is Zainab. I am representing Marine Heritage Gallery. Actually, this gallery managed under the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. For sure, this is a great opportunity to join the program. Having a chance to meet other colleagues from different museums and sharing experience and knowledge from others in Indonesia, for sure, and in Australia. Marine Heritage Gallery is new. We can call it very baby. This is a baby, and still a lot of things to learn, particularly related to the management, programs development, and human resources. So having collaborative project as part of this program is really triggering for me, and online exhibition would be a new knowledge for us at the gallery itself, and for the ministry to be developed to be implemented for the future program for Marine Heritage Gallery. Thank you. It is nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Zainab. And now we have Hendra Permana from Museum Multatuli, Banten.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Hendra Permana. You just call me Bada. I'm working at the Museum Multatuli as a curator. There are two reasons why I want to join IM. First, Museum Multatuli was launched in 2018, and it since mostly needs to the reinforcing in the technical capacity for its staff, especially in curatorial fields. Second, I am curious to know more about Significance 2.0. It's a brand new concept for me as Indonesian. The significance and interpretation of the museum collection, which become the training subject, is unfamiliar as well. I understand that the concept might be useful for the museum management in the future. It's honor for me to join M project, and thank you.
Thank you, Mas. And now we will have Ruchitra Desi Fadila from Museum Bahari, Jakarta.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ruchitra Desi Fadila. You can simply call me Desi. I'm from Museum Bahari, Jakarta. If it can be translated, should be Maritime Museum of Jakarta. What motivated me to join this program? First, as I just entered this new world called museums, I want to gain knowledge, of course, about museum and to know a great person inside the museum world. That's why I applied to this program. Thank you for accepting me. And I hope my Museum Bahari Jakarta, can gain another knowledge and insight about online exhibition, curatorial, and another technical that this program will offer to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Desi. And next we will have Anggi Purnamasari from Sulawesi Selatan. Mbak Anggi, I think you're muted. You're not? But we cannot hear your voice. Can anyone hear Mbak Anggi's voice, or it's just
No, I can.
No, we cannot.
uh, sorry, we cannot hear your voice. No.
I mean, maybe we can come back later.
Yeah, maybe we can come back to you, Mbak Anggi, and we will now move on to Scholastica Rania from Museum Rumah Oi, Jawa Tengah.
Hello, everyone. Apologies for the shaky voice and connections. So, good morning. My name is Rania. You can call me Rani. I'm one of the curatorial assistant at Rumah Ui Peranakan Heritage. It's a family museum located in Lasem, Rembang. And I'm very happy to be able to join this project. And my reason to join this project is to learn from professionals as well from other fellow museums, people from Indonesia and Australia about the collection management and how to reach our audience through great storytelling and the significance assessment. Thank you.
Thank you, Rania. And next we have Mbak Andini Perdana from Sulawesi Selatan.
Hi everyone, good morning. I am Andini from Office of Cultural Properties Preservation in South Sulawesi. I hope with this program I can learn about museum curatorial and then can sharing the experience with all participants. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Andini. And we will try to get back to Mbak Anggi Purnamasari. Can anyone hear Mbak Anggi? Still nothing? Or maybe Mbak Anggi, yeah. We cannot hear you. We will move on to the Australian curator first, and then maybe we will try again, ya Mbak Anggi. I have the list here. First, we would like to welcome Karayali Sauter once again, curator of Maritime Heritage Department. Please, Karayali, the screen is yours.
Hi, Ami. Thanks for the introduction. So I'm a curator and a maritime archaeologist in the Department of Heritage. My interest in being involved is this is part of my actual PhD research as well, looking at shared stories and a more cosmopolitan approach to our object interpretation. And again, I'm really keen to work with colleagues in Indonesia to make sure that we don't miss anything in some of our exhibitions we have here in Western Australia, particularly our material at Bula Bardip. There's been some work already done, but there's always more to do in this space. So thank you and welcome everyone.
Thank you, Riley. Next, we will have Christine Ford, Assistant Curator for Maritime Heritage Department.
Hi, I'm afraid I will not get my camera working that quickly. Sorry for that. But yeah, well, I'm Christine Pohr, Assistant Curator in the Maritime Heritage Department of the WA Museum. And my motivation is, first of all, to better understand our Indonesian-Australian or the Indonesian collection and widen my knowledge of the Indonesian-Australian maritime connections. And then with this understanding, also to understand our collection, also then to develop my knowledge a little bit better and to have the opportunity to work with other museums on an international level. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Now we have Deb Shafi, Assistant Curator of Maritime Heritage Department.
Hi, everybody, and good day. My name is Deb Sheffy, and I am a maritime archaeologist and the collections manager for the Maritime Archaeology Collection in the Maritime Heritage Department at the Western Australia Museum. And I'm just really excited to be able to be in a forum where we can engage with our nearest neighbors here in Western Australia and across Indonesia to further develop that shared heritage that we know we have and to obtain a better understanding of this holistic relationship and to take a holistic approach to looking at our collection here at Western Australia. And it would be great to further develop this network we have in the region and to see what other great projects we can put together in the future. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Deb. Now we have Jess Green, Assistant Curator, Maritime Heritage Department.
Alrighty, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, I'm Jess Green. I'm an archaeologist in WA on Wajak Noongar country. I've been an archaeologist for a few years, and so for about the last year or so, I've been involved with Maritime Heritage Department at WA Museum, first as a volunteer and now as an employee. In terms of this project, I would really like just to develop my skills because I'm quite new to the industry. So my skills and experience working within the museum industry and learning kind of how an exhibition comes to be. So and also really interested in learning about like the international relations between Australia and Indonesia and learning a bit about our connected history. Although that's Christine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jess. Now we have Michael Gregg, Assistant Curator, Maritime Heritage Department. Do we have Michael here or?
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. It's good to be here. I'm a curator in maritime history within the Maritime Heritage Department at the WA Museum. And a big feature of our collection is, and our exhibitions, is the interrelationship between Australia and other Indian Ocean Rim countries. So this is kind of right up our alley. And I'm really excited to see where we go with this shared heritage. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next, we will have Patrick Morrison, Assistant Curator, Maritime Heritage Department.
Hi, everyone. I'm an archaeologist over here in Western Australia, working with everyone else here. I'm really interested in that connection between Indonesia and Australia and how it's developed over time. The thing I like to bring to this project is I specialize in 3D recording sites and objects using photogrammetry. It would be great to develop those skills further and share them, thinking about the online exhibition. So looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Patrick. And now we will have Kylie Elston, Curator and Acting Head of History Department.
Hello, I'm Kylie Elston, working with the History Department in Perth, Western Australia. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to learn from and meet people who working across the museum industry in the region, exploring new ways of looking at objects that we have in our collection, particularly interested in the modern connections between Western Australia and Indonesia, and yeah, really looking forward to finding what comes out of this project.
Thank you, Kylie. Next, we will have Monica Durer, Assistant Curator, History Department.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really looking forward to working together with everybody. I think it would be a great opportunity for us to establish some links between our different collections, and also a great opportunity to share knowledge, so on both sides. And I have a personal connection to Indonesia as well, because I spent a number of years of my childhood there. So apart from the professional interest, there's a bit of a personal interest as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. And now we have Catherine Belcher, Head Cultures and Community Section.
Good morning, everyone. I'm in Fremantle today, not at my usual workstation, so I don't have a camera. Please forgive me. It's great to be here today, and thank you to the sponsors, to Deakin University, to SEAMS, to all the Indonesian museums who are participating. I oversee the maritime heritage, history, anthropology and archaeology teams, the curatorial teams in the WA Museum. And we've been users of the Significance 2 document for several years, particularly through our history department. So really looking forward to being able to collaborate with all of you on these various activities that Steve outlined earlier in the session.
Thank you, Catherine. And lastly, we will try to get back to Anggi.
Hello.
Hi, Anggi.
Sorry, I'm in field work, so maybe the signal is not stable. Okay, my name is Anggi Purnamasari. I work at Preservation for Cultural Properties Office of Sulawesi. So my office work in preserving the cultural heritage in 3 provinces, South Sulawesi, Southeast Sulawesi, and West Sulawesi. And I'm working as a publication staff. One of my work is do some exhibitions in some different regions. So I'm interested in joining the program to enrich my knowledge in exhibition for cultural properties. Thank you.
Thank you, Anggi, and all the Indonesian and Australian curators for the introduction. In our next session, Bu Nusi Lisabila Estudiantin, curator from the Museum Nasional Indonesia, who is also one of the participants of the AIM project, will share some background of the project, including the previous training that was held in Australia over 2016 until 2017 at Deakin University. And then we will also have a more technical overview of the project, which will be presented by Andrew Henderson from SIMS. Dear Bu Nusi, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Ami. I would like to deliver my, it's not speech, but I will deliver my our experience when we were in Melbourne. It is an hour for me to represent the alumni to share our experiences during the workshop in 2016. The committee chose me probably because, yeah, that's maybe I was the oldest participant. But as I said before, however, I am sure that I will get additional insight and new experiences from my great fellow participant from the AIM project. As Steve said that the workshop participant were 12% at the time from Jakarta, Makassar, Jogja, and Aceh. Unfortunately, currently only 7 participants are still working at the museum. It is undeniable that 2016 was an enlightenment years for us. After going through the registration stage and fulfilling several requirements, finally we participate in the capacity building in Indonesian museum sector, which was held at Burwood campus, Deakin University, Melbourne, 6 until 20 November 2016. During workshop, we were accompanied by our mentor, the lecturer from Deakin University, who is also present at this time. Dr. Steve Cook, Mr. Fantastic. That's because he always said fantastic. That's why we call him Mr. Fantastic. At that time, maybe I cannot remember all the material we got at that time, but as I remember, we got about the development of collection management policy, virtual reality multimedia application for presenting the past, and also the significance of collections, the idea for interpreting a heritage site, and so on. And this material were provided by Deakin University lecturer for museum studies, such as Andrea Whitcomb, Emma Russell, Linda Young, Sarah Roth, Lorinda Kramer, and of course Steve. In this workshop, we're not only passively accepting the subject or the material, but we are also asked to share our ideas for development of our museum. Steve gave us with big question, what is your big idea? And then followed by the other question to support the big idea, such as what do you want to change? How will you do this? And how will you show you achieve it? There were a variety of great ideas raised by the participants. Some were in the form of the collection management, exhibitions, public programs, and also internship programs. Our big ideas were then presented at the end of the activities of the workshop. The big idea not only rises as an idea, but also this idea can be practiced in our museum. To enrich our insight and creating our big idea, Steve also took us on the adventure from museum to museum. See firsthand the museum management practice in the professional manner. We are not only as a visitor, we are also had the opportunity to meet and discuss with the museum management, starting from the director, curator, conservator, educator, and preparator. It was a priceless. I think it was a priceless experience and hard to forget. We visited the Old Treasury Building Museum, Islamic Museum of Australia, Italian Museum and Historical Society, Melbourne Museum, Immigration Museum, National Gallery of Victoria, and I think it is the amazing place, the Shrine of Remembrance. Each museum gave a great experience for us. And the conclusion is that the research is very important for preparing the exhibition, and also the expertise in making strong narrative, and also the ability to build the exhibition aesthetic that make engagement with the visitors. This is our challenge for us to make a great exhibition. And also on August 2016, I forgot, July or August, a short 2 days workshop was continued at the Australian Embassy to monitor and evaluate the progress of our idea. There were also given some subject about the interpretation of the collection. But last but not least, on behalf of the alumni, I would like to thank the Australian government for giving us the opportunity to gain valuable lessons and experiences in museum studies. We are also grateful to Directorate General of Culture, in the case of represented by the Director of Cultural Human Resources and Cultural Institution Empowerment, who is very active to reconnect and continue this capacity building. We hope this program will continue, and if the pandemic ends, a new fellow participant will have the opportunity like us to become a student in the Deakin University, short student, so and visit amazing museum in Melbourne. Thank you.
Thank you, Bunusi, for sharing your insights and experience, and especially to enlighten us on how fantastic Steve was, and we hope he still is. And now, Andrew, the screen is yours.
So thank you, Ami. Thank you, Bu Nusi. So my name is Andrew Henderson from the Southeast Asia Museum Services. So I'm going to just give a bit of an overview, not a very exciting presentation, but just more about some of the key dates and detailed information for the participants, just to share with you as we move forward with the project. But just before I would begin, I'd like to thank the team that has been working behind the scenes, especially from the Ministry of Education and Culture. There's a large team who have been working to plan all of the workshops and this event. So Pat Yudi, Pat Wawan, Pat Iqbal, Mas Bowo, Bu Lenny, Bu Wati, who I think are on the call. So thank you very much for all your efforts and for the collaboration for this event, and also for the planning of the of this important project. So here are just some of the key dates, just for you to be mindful of and to block into your calendars. So as Stephen mentioned in his presentation, the first workshop will be held in Jakarta at the National Museum. So the dates for this workshop are the 22nd to the 23rd of July. So not too far away. So this workshop will focus on the significance assessment. And I think it's going to be really exciting because the National Museum under Bu Nusi has let us use some of the collection in our workshop. So it won't just be a kind of theory workshop. We'll actually have the chance to work with some really interesting objects from the National Museum collection. So thank you, Bu Nusi, and the team at the National Museum for that opportunity. In October, so the 25th and the 26th of October, we'll have the interpretation workshop. So this will be a chance to share the results of the significance assessments that you will have done on your own collections. And we'll begin to think about how we can turn the results of those assessments into an exhibition or interpretation for the public, be it through object labels or through the online exhibition. So our colleagues from the Western Australian Museum will also be invited to join this workshop, and we can discuss and brainstorm about our online exhibition. Also, as Steve mentioned, we'll be holding regional workshops in Aceh, Yogyakarta, Makassar, Solo, and Bandung. So when we opened the call for applications for this project, we received over 140 applications from across Indonesia. So we've got the main group of 22 people, but with colleagues from the Ministry of Culture, we thought this is also an opportunity to not just have one main group, but to share the knowledge more widely across Indonesia at different museums. So through these regional workshops, we'll have a further, I think around 90 people will join those workshops. And we'd like to invite you as the main group to help, if you're available, as mentors and facilitators to share your knowledge in those workshops. So we'll be confirming the dates of those workshops and checking your availability and interest to join. And then finally, I think throughout the year, we'll be working kind of steadily on discussing and collaborating on the exhibition development with a launch date of June 2022. So that's some of the key dates. In terms of the communication, there are two main kind of groups for communication. So first of all, we have a Facebook group, which everyone who is on this call today is welcome to join. So there's a link there. so AIM Project 2021. So this is really a space to kind of share articles, photographs, and discuss about our ideas and share that way. We also have a WhatsApp group for the colleagues from Indonesia, which we can use to kind of discuss more of the logistics around the workshops and to send you updates. So they're the two main forms of communication. So I think if you haven't jumped onto the Facebook group, please jump on. And some of you may only have an Instagram account. I don't know. So you may have to create a Facebook page. I'm not sure. But that's the communication tools. We also have a project website, so aimproject.org, and we're going to be updating kind of news stories onto this site as we go. Also, if you have any ideas for any stories or any updates you would like to share with the public, please let us know and we can highlight on the website. In terms of the social media, we have a few partners that we can tag. So when we do our workshops or when you're working at your own collections and you'd like to share anything with the public on social media, please consider to use these hashtags and to please tag the partner organizations. So I will share also the presentations later, so you'll get all of this information later on. In terms of the COVID-19 protocol, the Ministry of Culture is very, very mindful of this. So they've kindly agreed to facilitate testing prior to the workshops. We'll also, of course, use masks in the workshops, and we'll try and work in smaller groups. So for example, in a significance workshop, we may have a small group of 4 people per object, and we'll do the kind of social distancing in the workshop. So just to share that with you. In terms of what is covered for the Indonesian participants, so the transportation to the workshops, the regional workshops, the local transport, the accommodation and meals, and the daily stipend. So I think that's it from me. I think we still have some time to discuss. And if you have any questions, please feel free to raise it about any of the logistics or the wider kind of design of the project. We have some time now. Or else you can also share any questions in the WhatsApp group or via email later on. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. So do you have any questions? Thank you, Andrew. Do you have any questions? Maybe some of you want to discuss ideas for the projects. Please raise the virtual hand in the meeting or just speak directly.
I have a question for Andrew. May I?
Yes.
Hello.
Okay. Who is it speak?
Me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Silakan Bu.
Andrew, the exhibition 2022 will be held in Jakarta or just digital exhibition?
Hi, Bu Hafni.
Hi.
Question. Yeah, good to see you
Terima
again.
kasih.
Yeah, terima kasih. I think the original, like prior to COVID, when we were talking about the project design, we had wanted to do a physical exhibition, but I think with the situation with COVID, we discussed and we think the online exhibition is the best option. So the exhibition in 2022 will be an online exhibition. But who knows, after we do the online exhibition, there may be other opportunities in the future that we can discuss for a physical exhibition as well. So in the first instance, it will be an online exhibition with a launch date of June 2022.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. I see Riley and Hendra are raising hands, but before that, I would like to remind the participants to fill in the attendance list. You can see the link on the chat room. Okay. I think we first have Hendra.
I have asked to I am send learning materials before the workshop starts. Thank you.
Maybe I can answer, and then Steve may want to add on. So we're at the moment preparing some learning resources. So one, we're working on a translation of the Significance 2.0. So at the moment, I think through our website, you have a copy of Significance 2.0 in English, but we're working on a translation. So we hope to share that with you in advance of the workshop. So you'll have that as a Significance 2.0 as a resource. Also, as Steve mentioned in his presentation, there's an online learning space through Deakin that all the participants will be able to access. So that will be like arranged as a series of training modules. And that will have like interactive media like videos, as well as links to different readings. So we're hoping to have that up in advance of the first training. So you'll have that as a resource that you'll be able to access. So I hope I've covered that, Steve. So please feel free to add on if I've missed anything.
No, that's great. Thanks, Andrew. I think let's cover everything. Yeah, we'll aim to have everything up in advance of those workshops, so you've got time to read and think and also ask questions on the discussion boards as well. So because we want the discussion to happen not just at the workshops, but in advance as well. So if you've got any questions or concerns or want to share experiences, then you can do that through the online learning platform, Cloud Deakin.
Thank you, Andrew and Steve. And Riley, do you want to say something?
Yeah, thanks, Amy. I just wanted to really add on to what Andrew was saying, the question for Hafni about the exhibition. I always like to think ahead. So I think any ideas we have in the workshops, as well as putting together content from the online, we should think about future options for formal exhibitions, because I think that this is a huge opportunity to actually talk about our collections and understand what each institution across Indonesia and also Western Australia has. So I certainly would think this is just the beginning of something in many ways. That was just a comment to add in. Thanks.
Thank you, Riley. And I think we have Theo. Theo, do you want to ask something? And Theo will ask questions in Bahasa Indonesia. So maybe if Andrew wants to answer, maybe Andrew can elaborate the question first, so our fellow Australian will understand what he's asking. Please, Theo, the screen is yours.
Oke, aku mungkin, saya pikir mungkin kalau akan menutup saya banyak menceritakan ide kalau pakai bahasa Inggris karena ada beberapa hal yang saya tidak tahu istilahnya. Sebenarnya di proyek ini yang paling menyenangkan adalah melihat bagaimana kolaborasinya antar perbedaan budaya dalam satu wilayah ya, dan itu diterjemahkan, direpresentasikan ke dalam satu framing virtual online atau virtual exhibition. Dan menariknya buat aku pribadi, karena aku juga berkarya sebagai seniman, apakah virtual exhibition ini hanya karya yang ditaruh dalam virtual, atau dia mempunyai kesadaran tentang seni media maupun digital art itu sendiri. Karena kalau ada kesadaran seni media maupun internet arts, dia punya layar-layar yang banyak, dia punya perspektif yang interaktif, dia bisa punya sistem yang bisa diakses oleh publik tanpa harus merumitkan secara umum mungkin ya. Dan saya jadi tertarik bagaimana gagasan-gagasan para kurator atau para partisipan kami semua ini bisa jadi satu frame selama proses ini gitu loh. Karena secara framing kita di museum kami aja atau galeri kami aja udah beda-beda kan. Justru aku ingin belajar atau ingin tahu bagaimana hal-hal ini bisa terjadi gitu loh. Oke, terima kasih. Mungkin bisa ditranslate ke kami. Thank you.
Andrew, will you be so kind and also translate the question?
Oh yeah, thanks, Ami. I thought you were going to translate. I may have missed some of it, but yeah, thank you, Matteo. I think it's a very important point. So I think the main point that Theo has raised is about the virtual exhibition and then the opportunities to kind of push the boundaries a little bit from conventional museum ideas to also include kind of digital art and digital media. So I think the question is there an opportunity for us to kind of include that within the online exhibition? So, Ami, is that, I think I caught most of it. Is that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So
And
maybe
the second one is, I think,
yeah.
how to frame the narratives from all the museums that is involved in this project, because there are so many museums involved and they all have different narratives. So he's asking how to frame this into one storyline.
Okay. So there's two questions. So one maybe on the media, the new media and the digital art. So how we could consider that for the online exhibition. And number two on the actual themes. So I don't know, Corali, would you like to address number one, and then maybe Steve or anyone else like to kind of address question number two?
Sure, thanks, Teo. The short answer is yes. I think we are looking at an opportunity to push boundaries, try something new, and looking at the variety of museums, I think this will happen automatically, because we are dealing not just with cultural heritage, we're dealing with art museums, and also looking at the people involved. I think we're going to have a lot of a skill base we can draw upon. So while the request is for people to put together, ideas for 15 objects, it's much broader than that. It will be about finding new ways to tell stories, and that actually means the process in which we do that. So yeah, I think that's exactly what we're trying to achieve, Teo.
And in terms of, I'd really endorse that. And so I think there's the opportunity for us to be really creative through this process. And not only about the exhibition making itself, but also about the process of significance. And those of you who are familiar with Significance 2.0 will know that that document is now a few years old. And so part of the process for this group might be to think about, well, what does Significance 3.0 look like? How can we rework and rethink notions of significance, particularly within a transnational context? So that's a very exciting, tangible product that also might be at the end of this project. In terms of the themes of the exhibition, that's up to you. So we don't have a set of thought out themes about how we're going to organize the exhibition. This is a collaborative process and will emerge through discussions between us all. And that's why we have the workshops in the way that we do, so that we can think about the themes and what works. And again, I'd encourage everybody to be creative, be imaginative, and think differently.
Thank you, Steve. Andrew, do you want to add something or no?
No, I think that's good. Well covered. Thanks.
Do we have any more questions? If nothing, we can close this meeting.
So before we do close, Ami, I think on behalf of everybody here, we'd like to say a big thank you to the SEAMS team for organising today. We know that it's difficult organising things virtually, so thank you for all of the work that you've all done to bring us together. It's so lovely to see all the faces around this virtual table, but particularly to you, Amy, for your emceeing today, which has been absolutely wonderful. Again, it's really difficult to do virtually, and you've done a fantastic job. So thank you. It's really appreciated.
You're welcome. I'm so nervous, but now everything is okay. Do we have any more questions before we close this meeting?
There's one more member of Seams, Mita. I think you've been hidden. Can you put your camera on, Mita? Where are you?
Hi.
Where
Hi,
are you?
everyone. I'm here.
We can't see your video.
It's so nice to finally meet you all. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mita.
And I think also the committee from the Ministry of Culture, yeah, we have Mas Bowo and also Mas Kiki.
Yeah,
That will be
they're
in touch
here.
with all the
Where's Mas
participants
Bowo?
during
There's
the
the
course
photo.
of the
They're
project.
hiding. Yeah. Yeah, maybe just the last reminder for everyone that hasn't filled out the attendance list. It's on the chat box on the right hand side on your laptop, maybe. Yeah, please fill it in. Thank you.
Sudah, Ami? Sampun?
Sudah? Okay. Okay, I believe that we can discuss more in the Facebook and the WhatsApp group later during the course of the project. Thank you very much for all the participants of the meeting. I believe that we will have a pleasant experience together throughout the year, and we will surely know each other more better during the course of this program.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
See you.
Ami. Ciao.
Bye.
I see.